Hello and welcome to Tea in the Desert podcast. I'm your host, Fadi, and today we have a very, very special guest. Her name is Tika, and she is our paid social guru. She looks after all of our paid social campaigns for our clients. She makes sure the performance is there, and she is very, very, very intelligent when it comes to making recommendations, finding ways to grab low-hanging fruit, and just is able to really, really, really see the account forward and be able to really, really help clients grow their paid social, traffic and their sales. Tika is so experienced, and we love having her on the team. Welcome, Tika.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Fadi. I'm so happy to jump on here and have a little chat about marketing, my experiences, my journey, and share a few takeaways throughout my marketing experience. So
yeah, Tika, you are super experienced, and everyone loves having you on the team. I think there's so many things that we can learn from you, but I think it's really good to sort of know who you are and where you came from. So I'd love to sort of know, what's the life story like? Please tell us where you came from and where you were born and raised, and what was your experience coming to Australia. And tell me a little bit about that.
So I was born and raised in Singapore, and I only got to the Gold Coast like 2 years ago. And personally for me is I find that I want to be in an environment that offer the beach lifestyle, and I've explored different places. I've been in Bali, as 4 years. I've done a little bit of exploring in Jakarta and Perth, and then when I got to Gold Coast, I was like, yeah, this is perfect. This is where I want to live my life. It's just so close to the beach, and I kind of just like the community over here as well when I got here. And I just feel that in terms of career as well, it's where you find opportunity. I find opportunities, and where I was born, Singapore, it doesn't offer me the kind of lifestyle according to what I want. So I was like, I need to change an environment. And it's always good, when you change your environment, you kind of explore different parts and discover different parts of yourself as well. So
yeah. I think the Gold Coast does that to you. I think the whole coastal lifestyle is very much great grounds for just finding yourself, or being the beginning of the journey of going to find yourself and understand, figuring out what you want to do in life. So would you say you had a similar experience there in Gold Coast? You think that being where you were pushed you to become who you are today?
Yeah, I would say 100%. It's all about, I feel, the network that you build and the people
of course,
you surround yourself with, and then it just kind of lead me here.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And that's awesome. I think Danny, one of the business partners here, really is dying to move to the Gold Coast, and he's just like literally the other day he was just like to me, when we bring on more people to replace my role, and when I move to the Gold Coast, I will do X and such and such. I'm like, you can't just say when you move to the Gold Coast. It's like it's like as if it's it's crazy how much he wants to go there. But
he's always saying oh, I'm so jealous you're at the beach. I was like, well, you need to change then, come.
No. We need him here. That's awesome. But so you moved to Australia. You stayed in Perth, first Jakarta and then Perth, and then you moved to the Gold Coast. How did you get into paid ads? Where did you sort of get into the whole experience?
Well, so for me, I have always been in the marketing advertising industry. So where I've my first few years in my adult life, working life, I've been in the fashion and beauty like space. So I've always been passionate about like brands and e-com, and that's when I dive in into creating my own e-com brand. So
Yeah.
when I was in Bali, I started up like an e-com brand called Hasborth. So we sell
Mm.
leather footwear and stuff. But back
Nice.
in 2004, 2015, it would be like it's a simple strategy. All you have to do is like organic, right?
Mhm.
And you post twice daily, and then you suddenly have like 1,000 followers.
It's so
And
much
then
easier back in the day.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so much easier. And like, and all our strategy was just like organic email and influencer marketing.
Mm.
And then at that point of time, we were like, I was gaining like momentum with the, social presence and everything. But
Mm.
yeah, since I was like handling alone, it was just taking like too much of my time because I was still doing marketing gigs on the side as well. And the next question for me was, how do I actually like automate the marketing process?
Yeah.
There should be a way that like I can do it, get clients, get prospects without manually posting things, or or creating content or taking photos and stuff. And then that's when I stumbled and learned about paid ads. So the
Yeah.
next step was I was connected with this um another digital marketer who was in the advertising space as well. And then he kind of just like take me through the whole paid advertising process. And here I am years later. And it's
That,
just like it's always it's a, how do I say, it's a specialization that's always constantly changing.
yeah. Of
So
course.
it kind of just like what I love about paid ads is that it has data and creativity intertwined.
Mm.
So it's just like something that I just love, like the whole combination of it.
It's very much addictive because you're like on one end of the spectrum, you're like being creative, in your split testing, in your campaigns, in your creatives, you can be so creative, and with your ad copy and things like that. But on the other end, results, once there's results, it's like, damn, this is good. It's
Yeah.
like people appreciate what my thought process and my creativity and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
I can understand how you, like, why you stuck to it. But yeah, like, I mean, it's really, really interesting.
Yeah. I feel like with like creative side of things, like end of
Mm,
the day, we everything has to be measured by data.
yeah.
And data is the one that tells us like, okay, what works and what doesn't,
Yeah.
what needs tweaks in your campaigns and what needs improvements and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That is so true. Yeah, 100%. But so how many years have you been a paid ad specialist for?
I would say about 5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But you've been in marketing for longer, correct?
Yeah, I've been in the marketing industry for like 12 years.
Yeah.
Shocking.
This sounds a bit like an interview, doesn't it? I'm interviewing you again. Yeah. No, but I think so. Prior to paid ads, what did you sort of like? What did marketing look like for you? What were you doing before you were introduced to paid ads?
I was um uh, I was doing a lot of organic influencer marketing and email copy, and also
Yeah.
brand communication. So I guess like that's how I started, because I was working for like fashion magazines,
Yeah.
and then that was just like 4 years, 5 years, and then I transitioned to agency life.
Mm.
Yeah.
And you were exposed, I guess, to so much in the magazine space, or when you were working for fashion magazines. Um, I think that it would have equipped you to a really good level when you started working for agencies. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, I would say 100%, because like in fashion, like everything is branding.
Mm.
You've got to be really careful with how you communicate your target audience, the creative elements in like
Yeah.
image and what you put out. And yeah, and I guess this skill that I've developed like back then, it actually applies to now, because then like the first thing when developing a campaign, I would think about target audience, creative elements,
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah,
messaging, copy,
yeah,
yeah, and those are the things that a lot of brands or clients, they don't really think about that. They think like advertising is just like boosting posts, or they don't really think that those are the key elements that make like campaign successful.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There's obviously a lot more to that, and
yeah,
previous data, and everything around, everything that's involved in the advertising space. But you know, it's funny because so many people think, oh yeah, digital marketing is like running a boosted post,
mm,
right? So literally, a lot of the conversations that I have will be around like, oh, so are you going to boost 3 posts for us? It's like, no, that's not what we're going to do.
yeah,
It's very hard to explain to them that digital marketing and paid advertising, firstly, number one, are two things that go hand in hand. But paid advertising is not boosting posts, right?
yeah,
And and digital marketing is not making something on Canva. You know what I mean? Digital
yeah,
marketing and paid advertising are much more deeper, and
mm,
it's quite hard to actually explain to uh, prospects and present clients like, hey, we do a much more of a job than
yeah.
just that. But yeah, it's
Yeah. There's so much things that goes into it. Like,
yeah,
I understand a lot of prospects, right? When they don't have any like digital marketing experience or haven't done any digital marketing experience in the past,
mm,
they take digital advertising or paid ads like a billboard. You know,
yeah,
they just think that, oh, reach as many people as you want, and that's the result they want. But they didn't think how many of them actually convert.
yeah.
So
So
they did.
true, so true.
Yeah,
Yeah, so true. I think it's just one of those things that are like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that we do on the back end, but there's
mhm,
not much, you know, for them anyway, they don't see what is actually going on. Like, say for example, it's not the same as a plumber or like an electrician, for example, where you can actually see the work that has been done um, in the front end and the back end. But for us, we do a lot on the back end, and for the front end, it's kind of like there's not much. You know, uh, People can't really translate the result to the actual the work that we do on the back end. So it's like
yeah,
it's one of those things that you just have to sort of just continuously report and report and report and tell people like, hey, this is what we do, you know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
you're very experienced, Tika. What brand experience do you have? What accounts have you worked on in the past or present? Even at the agency. And what interesting stories or learnings do you have in your career so far that you can share for people in the audience?
Well, like I mentioned in the past, when I started working independently, I was taking a lot of clients in the beauty space.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of like cosmetic studios, hair studios,
Yeah.
lashes and stuff. And then when I produce good results for them, they just refer me within their circle. So that's how
Mm,
I just got into the beauty space. Never really like get a lot of clients outside of it.
mm.
And then clearly when I moved here, and I'm humbled by the opportunity given by Digital Oasis, and
Jeez.
I get to work with different types of industry, and I'm happy for that. Like now we're um working with clients in like everything, healthcare, e-com, yeah, just basically everything. And I think that's what I like, because then you're able to strategize different things and expand like creativity.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not one size fits all, like you've heard. It's always different with different industries and clients. So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, in terms of brands, interesting stories, I don't really have like a particular brand that like is really I've worked with that is impactful, but I feel like the one brand that I follow throughout the years that
Mm.
keeps nailing their marketing strategies is definitely IKEA. And I mentioned this throughout all my meetings. Like just look at IKEA. What are they doing? And they're all over my LinkedIn and stuff. And it's because they crack down the psychology of their consumers.
Yeah.
And one thing that I feel they um they make their marketing impactful is through their product naming conventions. Like the way they name their product.
I hate the way they name products. I hate it.
I love it. It's so relatable though.
How can you relate to a Hagen-Dazs, whatever? Like you can't. I was like, those random names, they kill me, and but people like love it,
Yeah, people love
and
it.
then
It goes viral all the
yeah, and the
time.
product lines as well. Like we're just gonna show a screenshot of some of these products that we've got here. Like, what's one thing like dating 3 at once, and that's a triple pad for wireless charging. like it's just
Yeah.
it's almost obnoxiously themselves. It's like they don't hide away from the fact that it's like it's themselves.
Yeah. She doesn't want to cuddle in this, like what do you call it? Like a separate, if you look at that one picture.
She doesn't want to cuddle. It's a mattress wedge. Literally,
Yeah.
it's
Mattress wedge. Yeah.
yeah. Wow. I didn't even see
It's
that one.
funny.
That's so good.
I mean, it's relatable. It actually people love it because it's something that, it's a real life situation.
See, this is not viral enough. This is like products that should actually be much more I guess more viral, and like more people should know about it.
Yeah.
But it's like the secret what would you call it? Like a secret like an inside joke almost, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just makes people
She doesn't text back, or he doesn't text back.
that's like
3-port USB charger. That's literally me. Oh my god, how good is this? This is
oh,
gold.
it's so funny. Yeah.
Literally gold.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, I feel with IKEA, they're just so good at making people part of, like you said, inside joke, right? So it's sort of like a community thing where people who relate, okay, they're just like, oh, I get you, like I'm part of your community. It kind of just brings people that feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
They're good, man. They're so good. But
Brilliant.
I guess this probably, it's actually a really good way to understand like that it's not paid ads that will produce results. It's how well you can brand your branding, or how well you can execute your branding, but also on the flip side, how well you can do paid ads in conjunction with the branding. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I think that's probably what is the core of a successful campaign or a successful paid ads activity, both on social and search. But you've been on the tools for many years now, and you've got a lot of experience. What processes are important to run a successful campaign? Like what do you do, or what do you look out for when you are running a successful campaign?
So I normally follow this 4 phase to run a successful campaign. So number one, I would say, is the research. Then at this phase, this stage, you look at what other competitors are doing, and I love doing our competitors' research. So we know we can assess what's their weakest point, what their strength, and how we can turn it around and develop a stronger strategy than that, and their clients sort of.
And it's so good always looking at what others are doing, and you're like, oh, that's smart, but I'm gonna take that.
It's I don't I strongly believe in doing competitors research or following them every day, I feel. And number two, I would say, is the design process. It's where, like I said, you try to develop a converting sales funnel based on what you find, like the findings of your competitors research. And then thirdly, it will be the experimental phase. This is when you see all the data, because end of the day, numbers don't lie. So you see all this data, it's sort of like a proof saying that, okay, what failed, what can we work better, and how do we move forward?
Yeah.
And then that's when the optimization phase is where you make the tweaks
Yeah.
and try to keep improving the process.
Yep. That's awesome. That's really good, and I think it's easier said than done. Like, research, design, experimental phase, and optimization phase. Like,
Yeah.
someone can take those words and do them, but
Mhm.
not be successful, and they're like, "Why isn't it successful?" This is, these are the three, for the four phases that are really important, but they're probably just like, it's probably not done well or more or effectively enough. I think
Yeah.
there's the difference between a decent marketer and a great marketer is someone who just sticks to the rules, but almost but does a very, very good job, a detailed, thorough job at what they do. So I think that's probably important to note.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think back to going a little bit about like building a brand. IKEA has built a fantastic and strong brand, and they continue to do so throughout, through everything that they're doing. But IKEA didn't grow from just paid advertising. IKEA, and same as like big brands, like some of our brands are like, Frenchy Wear and Cycles Galleria, and so many different types of businesses that we work with and brands that we work with. They don't just pay us to produce results via paid advertising. There's also a whole bunch of work that goes on in the back end, in the background, from their team and from their end. So,
Yeah.
what goes into building a brand aside from paid advertising? What do you think?
Um. Well, it like literally it's so broad. Like there's so many
Of course.
areas and expect, like in the digital marketing strategy and also
Yeah.
in your sales strategy. And I feel what goes into creating, is that your question? Sorry, creating what goes into creating a brand?
So my question is, paid advertising is not the only thing that is, you know is necessary to build a brand. There's other things that are
Mhm.
required
Okay.
that we got to do other things to build the brand.
Yeah.
What of those things, what from those things are important to do that activity?
Yeah. So I will look at it this way. There is so many things that goes into creating that brand other than
Mm,
paid ads, because paid ads is just funneling your prospects, but
yeah.
it's another whole strategy to convert them. So
Yeah.
it really depends on like how your product market fit, your product demand, and whether or not that product is exhausted. Because we have clients who've done like who's done well like 2 to 3 years ago, but they don't see results now. It's because like suddenly all these big retailers like Kmart, Big W, Target has their products in their stores. So it's like
Yeah.
5 minutes away, and people don't want to wait for like 5 7 days to get like
Yeah. Yeah,
product.
exactly. Yeah.
So it means that the product has like been exhausted. So that's one example. um, and also another thing is brand communications, like we've discussed, and also like how well your creative team produce the like your creatives and messaging and the offer and community building. And if you're like, let's say if you're a gym or lead gen, like require lead generation campaigns,
Mm,
it's we don't really handle your sales process because we're just the marketers. So it really depends on how well your sales team actually
exactly. And
goes.
how well the service that you deliver is.
Yes,
And
100%.
like, I've been talking to some retailers as well. I think the main thing that differs them between great retailers, like that makes them great retailers versus like all right retailers, is
Yeah.
like relentless great customer service. I think, at the end of the day, whether you're a lead gen based client or a e-commerce client, or whatever it is, whatever brand or business that you're running, at the end of the day, how well the product and how well the customer service is, regardless of the product or service that you provide,
Yeah.
is what builds your brand, I think.
Yeah.
And that's a great segue.
Yeah.
I think that's a great segue into like do the next questions I have for you is like, do paid ads result directly in sales?
Yeah, that's, I guess that's the thing. Like,
Mm.
it doesn't, it doesn't result directly in sales. We're
Yeah.
just the ones that funnels, like, get your awareness out there.
Yeah.
But it's, it end of the day, it's still the offer, your sales strategy, your team, and yeah,
And brand awareness, of
and brand
course.
awareness. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we've done this before. I've made the mistake of running ads to a brand that no one has heard about or doesn't exist, and it's just like, where are my sales? It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
It's
and a lot of times with clients, they just have, they don't understand the process.
mm,
They think that they pay like today, they pay like, let's say 1,000, and they expect like a 3 ROAS or something.
yeah,
When they don't have the data, they don't have email lists, they don't have like all these data that comes to make the conversions happen. Like,
yeah,
we're talking about nurturing the pixels. We were talking about like, um, nurturing the database and
yeah,
stuff like that needs to go before
yeah.
you see 8-10 times ROAS. And
It's really frustrating to hear that, because it's like,
yeah.
okay, let's pretend we know nothing about paid ads. This is how it works, you have to like rebuild their entire education about what
Hmm.
paid advertising is like, and they're like, so if I pay $1,000 to Google or Facebook, can I expect $3,000 in revenue? It's like, no, you can't. Like, you know what I mean? It's not.
And
It's not a vending machine. Yeah.
yeah, it's not like something that guaranteed results, because especially at the like first few stages, I mean first few months of executing paid ads, it's the development stage and it's the
Mm,
experimental stage where I've mentioned before. If like, and also depends on your budget. The more budget you have, the quicker you learn about your customers,
mm,
the quicker you learn about what creatives work, what offer works, what call to actions works.
mm,
So then, like, you can just say, I put $1,000, I expect 10,000, in
mm,
return. But they don't understand that if you do ads like in a long run, this is how much you. I mean, this is the results that you may see
mm,
based
mm.
on this like key elements that we see. So,
Yeah, there's a lot to it, and obviously we don't have all the time in the world. But I'll skip some questions, Tika, and I'll get to a big conversation that there is. That maybe we can do it. Talk. I want to get your opinion on quickly. Um, Many brands are like, okay, I need to do some influencers. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Where do they start? Do we start at mega influencers? So influencers with $100,000, 100,000 followers plus,
Yeah.
or micro influencers, somewhere around the 5 to 10 or 15,000 followers. What are your thoughts and why?
Okay, I feel like with influencer marketing, it
Mm,
really depends on your product, right? So if you have a niche product, it's better to go with, and also it depends on um if you have a really niche products, you wouldn't want to go to like the mega influencers, because their community, it's more like very broad,
mm.
you know. And
Everyone and anyone and everyone kind of thing.
yeah, everyone, and yeah, literally.
Yeah,
So if you have, for example, if you have a sustainable brand,
yeah,
you want your brand values to align with the influencer brand values, and
yeah.
this is more towards like the micro ones.
Mm,
And it really depends on what are we measuring, their engagement rate as well.
yeah,
So, like, how well the influencer engage with their community,
yeah,
and how much their community trust them and want to buy from whatever
yeah,
products that they promote.
yeah,
So I feel with mega influencers, I don't know, it's a mix, right? Yeah, but we, like, personally, if I were to follow like micro influencers, I trust the micro influencers more because they just speak to like one community, and it shows that they are knowledgeable in that like specific niche,
Yeah.
rather than someone who's just like a, like a broad, they just promote literally everything.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah.
there are many influencers even today that are like take on any brand that will go up, that will contact them.
Mhm.
And it's like, they come to a point where they're like, what are we, what are we for again? Like, are we just doing this for influencers, or sorry, are we just doing this to get paid, or are we just doing this to to actually engage with our audience and build value with them and continue to build value for them? It's kind of like, not sure, but
Mhm.
some influencers, love the, I guess, the payout,
The spectrum.
and and
Yeah.
and exploit their audiences, but others actually do a good job for building value for them. And this is where, if a brand with similar values
Mm.
is able to collaborate with said influencer,
Yeah.
then then it's everyone I guess benefits, because the audience benefits from knowing about the brand that can support their life in whichever way,
Yeah.
and the influencer benefits, and the brand itself benefits. So it's kind of like, you have to sort of reverse engineer the outcome and figure out, like,
Yeah.
yeah, figure out what what
Yeah.
what it is that actually will,
Mm.
um yeah, I guess.
And end of the day, with selecting the right influencers, it's
Mm,
making sure that the brand values align with the influencers values.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
the most important thing. Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
most important. Cool. One last question for you, Tika, because I
Mhm.
know we've taken a lot of your time. um I've got two questions, but I'm gonna have to choose one. What are some tips that you have for someone looking to start a brand?
um okay, this, I feel like there's a lot of things that you have to do,
Mm,
right, to start a brand, but
that's so true.
always always try to educate yourself and get access to knowledge as much as you can.
Mm,
Like for me, I always put myself in like a learning mode, always be ready and open to learn.
mm,
And personally, for me, if I want to, like, even at this stage, I'm like, there's so many things that I don't know. Like
yeah,
going to the recent conference I told you about, I was like, wow, I didn't really think about it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like just so many different strategies
Mm.
that you can learn. And personally, for me, it's I know it sounds old school and boring, but read a lot of a lot of books.
No, it's not old school at all. I think books are making a serious comeback.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
so read a lot. I think that's
Read
it.
a lot, listen to podcasts, and have a
Mm,
mentor.
mm,
Like for me, these are the top three important things. Like even if I sometimes that you have questions that you're dying to get answers, you can't just go to books. You need a real life person. So sometimes you just have to get a mentor where you can just like harass and say like, oh, I have this burning question. Can you answer?
yeah, yeah, and a mentor in your niche as well would be really good. So, say for example, you're starting a brand in the niche of, like, say for example, I don't know, furniture, because I could just see a couch, right? you
Yeah.
know getting to know an old timer, someone who has been in the industry for a long time. He'll tell you like basic business lessons,
Mm-hmm.
but what you need to do as a new brand or a new brand owner is, take his lessons, or take his or her lessons,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and mold them in a way that will work within the modern digital marketing world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Selling a product, or branding has been an age old activity. Like, there's been many brands that still exist today that are irrelevant today because of how much they've molded themselves into, into like a relevant brand today, but they started back in the day. So
Yeah.
what can we take? I guess having a mentor is so important, because you have to mold the lessons that they give you,
Mm-hmm.
in a way that works best for the current day. Today's brands. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, yes, you get like mentors who are like a little bit older than you, all these
Yeah,
like all these experiences, but their experiences then doesn't apply to today's world. So
exactly.
even with me, like I mentioned about how organic email and influencer was the strongest thing back when I first
Yeah,
started.
yeah, yeah.
And when I was like sitting down, like in a table with this like bunch of Gen Zs, I would just and they just raving about TikTok, and then I was just like, okay, just how I just need them about like how do you like, I don't know, excel in TikTok, and then they will just like, give me some inputs and ideas on how, like, in terms of content strategy. I mean, the concept is pretty much the same, but the
Mm,
techniques are different, platforms are different.
yeah.
So you just kind of like just combine these insights and create your own, I guess.
So true. You have to like no one's experience is going to translate the exact same way for you.
Yeah,
So you have to just take the lesson from a foundational perspective, and
yeah,
then make it your own. I think that's probably the most
yeah,
important thing.
100%.
Cool, Tika. I think
Cool.
we've reached the end there. Do you have any I guess some parting words before we never see you again, or maybe after 3 months?
Aw. Relax, it's still October. I don't go away till February.
I'm upset. I'm upset. So I'm gonna be negative until you come back.
I don't know. I just feel like the number one thing that I always live by, and if I were to say something to my 21-year-old self,
Yeah,
I just would say, like, keep learning and be open. Be
yeah,
open to learning, be open to new ideas, and creativity. It just isn't just one way.
yeah,
It always try to think out of the box.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So true. That's literally so true. I
Yeah.
think the best marketers are the ones that have paved the way for other marketers. I think that's the and they've only done that by stepping outside of the box and outside of their comfort zone and trying and not being afraid to fail. I think that's
Yeah.
probably really important. Yeah.
Absolutely. Even like now, I'm maybe like have this much experience
Mm,
in marketing, but I'm still learning from the younger, generation, because then, like I mentioned to you, TikTok is something that I haven't really like dive or fully
yeah.
utilized, and I'm still learning from them. I'm still learning about like um other strategies to appeal to the Gen Z, because they are our next consumers. So yeah.
It's a behemoth that no one has really got a grasp on yet. But
Yeah.
those Gen Z have a better grasp on it than we do. So we have to listen and unfortunately, yeah, give them the limelight until TikTok goes away, or maybe it will never go away. We don't know.
Maybe we never go away. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's here to
It's here
last.
to stay. I think it's made its position.
Yeah.
Tika, thank you so much. It's been awesome talking with you. And for those watching, if you guys enjoyed this little episode, please don't forget to comment. We really want to hear from you. Like and subscribe and ask any questions that you might have for Tika or for anyone here at the agency. And yeah, thank you so much again for your time, Tika.
Thank you so much, everyone, for taking your time to listen to our exciting podcast
Our podcast.
and our little banter.
Exactly right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tika. I
Right.
really appreciate your time.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cool. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye, everyone. Cheers.